Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms Podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here.
Hey, you're always excited to be here.
I am.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And who are you?
I'm Candace.
Hi, Candace.
Stop.
I like messing with you.
If you're here, you know I'm Candace, right? Like, although I have been getting really good at actually, I've been practicing talking about the show and trying to get my little 10-second, 20-second spiel down so that I can talk about it, tell people about it, and try to promote and share out the information. I say this was longer than how I'm trying to tell it because it's too many words. It's too convoluted.
So you've been practicing how
But
to
I've been
talk to people about the
practicing
show.
my elevator pitch about the show.
Okay, so you and I have never met.
No, I'm not going to do it here. Don't put me on the spot.
Hi, Candace.
Stop it.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so
tell me, what have you been doing with yourself,
oh my
girl?
God, I'm so good. Things are really great. I opened a home daycare, and so the kids have me. They're just wild, but I love it. And I also started a radio show. I have a podcast now.
I love it. And what is it about?
Oh, it's called The Breezy Mom Show, and it's a parenting and lifestyle show.
I love it. It sounds
Oh my God.
amazing. Where can I get it?
You can get it anywhere. I'm everywhere you are, but mostly iTunes and Podbean and Google Play. But
I love her. She's good. See, you did it.
I did it.
I'm proud of you.
But so I was talking about it at the dentist today. Which you really only have a few seconds to talk in between, when the instrument is sticking you somewhere. Yeah, so you really only have 5 seconds. Podcast.
I'm going tomorrow. She's probably going to yell at me.
No, you
need to floss tomorrow. I'm like, I know. Just do your job. Just get it out.
Just get it out.
Just get it out.
Sometimes I'm sitting in that chair and I'm thinking, we literally pay people to do every single thing for us, and not we like Candace, but we people. There's a job to do just about anything that people don't want to do. And I always find myself thinking about that when some poor woman is, and poor is not because she probably makes a lot of money, but some woman is digging shit out of my teeth.
Listen,
legit.
When I sit at work and I'm frustrated and I'm just I just want to be outside and I feel like I can't anymore, I remind myself that there's someone out there who gets paid to go pop open your septic tank and pull your shit out. Seriously.
There's so many jobs.
And things just fall right back into place. And I'm like, now I know why I'm here on this desk with 3 screens and the whole 9 yards.
Because I'm not about that septic life.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, that is a lesson in how to be happy with what you're doing. Just think about all the other stuff that you pay people to do that you would never do.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I find myself, that's not how are the boys, that's how am I. I'm doing good. My teeth are clean. I'm feeling good. And I've been practicing this pitch. So I think it's cool. She asked me, she was like, oh, how do people know about your show? And I was like, well,
word of
this,
mouth.
what we're doing right now, I'm telling you. So it was cool. And I was realizing that I am feeling, James likes to ask me, so do you feel like you're doing it or you're pretending? Do you still feel like you're pretending? Because it's a thing, this imposter syndrome. Have you heard of this?
No, tell me.
So imposter syndrome is a problem. It's a problem that generally women have and typically younger people have, where no matter what you've done to get to the point that you're at, you're feeling like any minute they're going to realize you don't know what you're doing and that you're pretending this whole, and you're an imposter and you don't know what you're doing and the gig's up, right? And typically that's younger people, especially now the whole millennials are everywhere, and we're I hate claiming millennial, but I will anyway. Millennials are, running startups and blah blah blah. So
you're about to run the world in a hot
right?
minute.
See?
I mean, think about it. The baby boomers are retiring, right?
True.
From Congress, from
although they're
political
holding on.
life.
They're holding on.
They're holding on for dear life.
Dear life, the tips of the little
Dianne
crusty
Feinstein
fingers.
is one. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That woman.
She's the worst.
I love her. She had surgery one day and showed up to work 72 hours later.
Fine.
She's amazing. But anyway.
There are other problems with her though.
So you're telling me about this imposter syndrome. Do you feel like you're an imposter on the show now?
So I'm trying to stand in no. I am a podcaster. I have a show. I'm so excited about it. And people seem to be listening to it and talking to me about things that we've been talking about. And when I ask people to come on the show, they come. Like, I have a guest in studio tonight. It's so super exciting.
And she's awesome.
And she's awesome.
And we're going to have her talk to us later.
So my friend and neighbor and all around badass mom is here. Not my mom, but a badass mom. Tina is here. And we're going to be talking about kids and money and like teaching kids about money later when she joins us. But and
that's awesome.
And I'm really excited because I tell you for real, the first few times I ask people to come on the show, it's like, I don't really know my voice. I don't know what we'll talk about. Voice. Like, it's a whole thing, and people. But now, sort of, where are we at? 22 episodes.
We're episode 21.
Listen, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but people are into it.
I will tell you two things. The first is, we'll start off with this imposter theory thing. You're not an imposter at this point. You're 21 weeks in, okay? And as a producer and someone who's been doing it for over 2.5 years, you've grown. You've grown so much in 21 weeks from the start of your show to now. There's no way you can imposter that shit. Sorry.
I know. I'm so excited.
You're a podcaster.
I'm
own
a podcaster.
It. Take it with you wherever you stand. And to your listeners, if you're listening and you love what you're hearing, you have to let other people know. Yeah. That's very important because word of mouth, social media is how we podcasters in our community spread the word about our show and how people find us. Mm-hmm. So, very importantly is to share with your friends, let them know that the show is there, how they can access it, and then rate and review, because by doing that, by going on iTunes or Google Play Music or Stitcher Radio, or even you're on Spotify. Mm-hmm. We're not even on Spotify.
Listen, get with it.
Right? By going on these services and rating and putting a comment on there, it allows for Candace's show to work its way up and be exposed to other listeners that could potentially help her get to where she needs to be. And it's amazing.
So, all of that is to say, again, thank you for listening. Yes. I really appreciate you. We are streaming live on digitalstreamradio.com.
That's right.
Go there, digitalstreamradio.com, and push on that listen live button. You will hear me every week on Thursday at around 7:30-ish. And on Monday, you can find Gay Talk 2.0. These are usually things we talk about at minute 2.
I know.
We're not that far in.
Not too far.
We're not that far in. But anyway, thanks again for joining us. I'm so excited to be here. So glad that you're here. Excited for our guests in studio. So let's just jump right into How Are the Boys?
So I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
How are the boys?
They're good. Sorry, did I just jump on your toes?
That's okay.
I did. I'm doing all the work. Listen, I do all.
She's
moms
good
have
tonight.
to do everything.
She's on
okay?
point. I'm just going to shut my mic off and let her work her magic tonight. She's on point. God. She came.
I'm here.
She's here.
I'm here. And I tell you, like most weeks, and this is how I know that I'm really excited about doing this and feeling good about it, is every week Thursday is like the hardest day. And I'm just like, maybe today is not the day. Maybe we use one of our shows from the vaults. Maybe I just can't make it. And that's how I feel around 2-3 o'clock. And by 6:30, I'm like, all right, we're doing this because I got to get out of this house. Especially now it's like 900 degrees in my house. So
not in here.
Oh my God. So I was thinking, I know we're going to talk about the boys. We're supposed to talk about the boys, but sometimes you have to talk about yourself. I was having this moment today where I was just like, do I really have to turn on the air conditioner in order to get dressed? Like, you get out of the shower.
Isn't that horrible?
You're supposed to be clean and fresh, and you're sweating immediately. I literally could not get on my bra because it was, like, stuck to my body. And I was thinking the other day, like, who are these women who can put on the bra? It's always in a movie. It's like a saucy, sexy moment. Mm-hmm. And the woman's, like, putting on, it's like after the thing has happened, right? It's the next morning. And, I'm going to go.
Honey, they've been padded.
Right. They're, like, doing all their thing, right?
Up.
Like, fresh. I'm going to go to work now. I'll see you next time, same place, right? Like, it's all sexy, right?
Not a wrinkle
so she's sitting
inside.
on the edge of the bed, and she puts on her bra forwards, and then she reaches her little arms around and clips the bra in the back. I'm like, who the hell are these women who can clip their bras?
That's probably not even their hands, right? Like, it's like the camera, like, getting an angle where someone is doing it for them. No.
I remember thinking, like, feeling bad about myself the first time I realized that I cannot do that. First of all, there are like 6 clips on the back because I'm a girl with stuff, right? And so it's like a harness going on, and I cannot get all of those loops on. So this is the point of the story, that it's 1,000 degrees in my house, and I've just gotten out of the shower, and so I have to put it on like a normal girl. You put it on in the front, and you loop it, and then you swirl it around, but it won't swirl.
I will tell you, Mom is actually coming in September. She's going to spend a month with me, so you'll get to meet her.
I'm so excited.
So, my mom raised 3 boys, single mother, so she had no shame in walking out of
so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Boobs out there. My mother had massive, they're starting to sort of kind of
Listen, mind
down.
your business. Don't talk about them.
But I've seen my mom with big boobies and all put a bra on, and she would put it. She would pin it in the front and she would swirl that thing over, and then she would put one hand in and then the other one, and she goes like,
and then you get it. You get ready. Inside. You got to pick it up from the bottom, and so you like make sure it's all perched. You get a little. Listen. Okay.
So when I started doing drag, that's what I did. That's what I did. I would put it, in the front and flip it over, and then put my water balloons in and tie it up and ready to go.
So you know exactly.
Yes.
So it's real, and that's why you come to this show, right? To listen about real life and hear the life is hard in these streets, okay? And it's fun and it's funny, but for real, it's real, okay? And then I'm in the house trying to get dressed to come out tonight, and I really want to turn on the AC, but then I have James like in the back of my mind going, Candace, the electricity bill is so much. You're always putting on the AC. It's like, it's not really that hard. I'm like, listen, I'm not from Ghana. I can't handle this kind of heat. This is global warming. I can't handle it. I need the AC. So he's like, turn off the fans. I was like, no, when I walk into a room, the air needs to already be circulating. He's like, what are you fanning a room that you're not in? Listen, this is my space, okay?
Stop it. Husband, I bring in the income too. Let me
now,
indulge
right?
myself.
Let me indulge in some
I'm
fan.
here all day with the kids. I'm here all day with everybody else's kids. Let me indulge myself. Let me be comfortable.
He's like, they're kids. They can be hot. I'm like, listen, the AC is not for them. The AC is for me, because when I start getting hot and sweat is in my eyeball and like phlegm, can I tell you, listen, maybe we'll skip How Are the Boys and just talk about me tonight. Because
how's Candace?
Let's talk about Candace. This week I pulled out some phlegm, which is like, it's kind of like Play-Doh, but it's little tiny balls that are stuck together by some sticky stuff. So it's like Play-Doh, but it's a different texture, different consistency.
From where?
It's from anywhere. You can get it from Target or
I'm
from
saying,
whatever.
Where did you pull it out
from the stores, okay? I pulled it out from the stores as a new like sensory thing for the kids. And when I tell you at the end of the day, there was phlegm underneath my bra. Okay?
How is that even
possible? I have no idea. Okay? Talk about like your job is you live your job. Like it doesn't get any closer to the chest than under your fucking chest. Like it's just
like how? I mean, I remember. So I mentioned that I've done drag a couple of times, right? And typically a lot for Halloween. But one time, I decided to put on a bra that had an underwire.
Oh.
Worst thing ever. I popped my balloon halfway through my disguise. I'm walking around with a lopsided fake boob, just dripping, and the whole dress that I had was wet. When we're done with tonight's episode, I will show you a picture.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see it. But the bra thing, I mean, it's a thing. Bras are a thing. Last week or a couple weekends ago, I was out bra shopping. I went on Facebook and asked the Hive, like, I need a new bra. Where are you guys getting your bras? And I have some great friends who are also pretty fancy, and they were like, oh, you can go to Nordstrom and get a fitting. And I was like, oh, there isn't even a Nordstrom anywhere close to me. Plus, I don't have $100 to spend on a bra. And people are like, oh, but one good bra is better than 6 bad bras. And I was like, yeah, but the way my budget is set up, I don't know. But I also in that conversation was talking about it's like battle scars. I literally have scars on my body from these bras. Like you get them underneath. Oh my God, stop it. You were supposed to wait so I can focus. That I cannot believe that's you. That's amazing. Okay, we will post that picture. We will post that picture on
The Breezy
Facebook.
Moms. It's
so
on
that
Facebook.
you all can see what I can see right now. It's
on
great.
Facebook.
It's great.
Oh, Lord,
But-
I'm a mess.
But going back to bras, because really it's all about me tonight, is that literally I have like battle scars from these bras, and they look like surgery. They look like maybe I was getting a breast lift or a breast reduction or some implants or something, and they're just all in the places. My shoulders have indents, like where the shoulder pads are supposed to be. So you go out and you think you can buy these bras, and literally they look like harness, and that's not. It looks like a harness. It's not sexy. It's hard. Okay.
It's not easy being a woman. I'm
going to bring it
sorry.
back. I'm going to bring it back because I just got really riled up thinking about trying to get dressed tonight in the heat.
She wasn't playing.
And then remembering that I have new scars. And for a while I had stopped wearing the underwire because the recommendation is that you not wear underwire when you're nursing because underwire stabs you in all kinds of places and you can end up getting like masses or mastitis or, kind of bruising the ducts that are supposed to be feeding the baby. And then that's pain for you, pain for the baby. Like it's just a whole thing.
So the ducts are in your nipples.
Yeah, but
in your underwires under the breast.
Yes, but
how is that even possible? Come on, doctors.
So maybe I'm using the wrong terms.
Help
all
me
right,
out here.
listen. Maybe the ducts are in your nipples, but the milk is the whole breast is involved. Okay, the whole breast is involved in the situation, and the wires go from under your arms to your like breastbone.
That's right. Okay, never mind.
So all under there is a part of. Listen. When you start with your worthless nipples, get out of here. Don't ask me any details about.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Listen, the recommendation is that you
I'm
not
in the
stop.
leopard
You're
dress.
you're going to distract me.
I'm in the
okay,
leopard
that
dress.
one we'll
Oh my
also
God.
post on Facebook.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so it's all involved, and I just started wearing wires again because I stopped nursing.
And the reason why I was showing you this is because you know how hard it was to keep those water balloons in there with
my God.
a bra, with a strapless
Yeah.
bra.
What is this, like 1996? I'm looking at those chunky heels and the suede knee boots.
I think it was 97.
See? Listen, I'm up on pop culture. You don't know about me, but I know a lot about pop culture. That looks very much like early J-Lo, like early
J-Lo wasn't
R&B.
even out. Are you kidding me? J-Lo didn't even have
But
that
J-Lo
first.
was
She
like
was a fly girl.
a fly girl. What do you think the fly girls? You look like a fly girl.
Ooh, thank you.
See?
Not anymore. Now I look like I swallowed a couple of them, but that's okay.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Okay,
All right.
so now that I feel like I've gotten that all out, I'm mostly good. I am mostly good. I'm also feeling really good about the summer tan. I've got like a summer tan going, and I feel
I'm
really
getting rid of my
good.
permanent like tank top.
Oh my God.
I've been mowing with no shirt on, although I'm
Oh,
fat, and my
Lord.
neighbors are probably like, "Please put a shirt on." But
Have you checked the Nextdoor app or whatever the thing is?
is there a Nextdoor app?
Yes.
Stop it.
There's like an app where you like make comments about whatever's happening in the neighborhood. What is it? I think it's called Nextdoor.
You know, I actually want to start a neighborhood like Facebook page.
Yeah, it's called Nextdoor. There's a thing already.
No, but I mean like on Facebook, right? Because not everybody knows that Nextdoor.
That's true.
I'm
and
just saying, like,
I got on it and then I got off because too many things. Like, oh, the neighbor's cat is in my yard. Oh, the neighbor's chickens are. Does anybody know these chickens?
Here's
Tina,
what I
who's going to
would've
be on
posted.
later, has actual chickens that are free range. Like they just roam the neighborhood.
Here's what I would have posted: the neighbor's cat was in my yard. Try finding that fucker.
Right.
Especially with my two little rats.
Oh
You know,
my
they're amazing. I
God.
love my dogs. Anyway, so we've got bras. The boys are
The
good.
boys are good. So the boys are good. We went today. Today we spent the day at the beach with my friend Carolyn, and that was pretty fancy. It's like a fancy little town. It's called the like Madison Surf Club, which I was like, all right, let's
It's in
go.
Madison.
It's in Madison. It's fancy, and you have to like get checked in or whatever. So just not anybody can roll up in here. And I mean, it was nice. Let me tell you, I went because I was like, ooh, surf club, like club,
She's getting
beach
bougie
club
on
or
us.
whatever. Let me go and see how the bougie live, right? And it seems really regular. Although I will say, because you have to pay, she said that if you're from out of town, you have to pay like $50 to get in. So because the price is so high, and then it was also midday Thursday, right?
I'm a guest.
I didn't have to pay because I was a guest. But what we're saying
that's
is,
what I'm saying.
Because because the price for non-residents is so high, the beach is usually empty. So there are probably like 50 people on the beach.
So that means you have plenty of space to be able to run around.
And I guess that's what being bougie is about. It's like not being overwhelmed by the common folk.
Not have to deal with
like,
you common people.
I don't have to like share my beach area. I don't have to like worry about you stepping on the edge of my thing, or like our blankets are overlapping, or my kid doesn't get to go on the swing because like 1,000 kids are on the swing.
I ain't at the bottom of that totem pole now, am I?
So I guess that's what, because it just
holding
looked
up all
like
that weight.
It just looked. Will you stop?
You don't want me to get on the totem pole right now. That thing would snap. Anyway.
So anyway, it was cool to go and to see this place. I'd never been there before. And then I was also feeling good because my boys were just living their best life. You know, they were just like so free and joyful. Although Lincoln was going a little bit too far and was like, hey, I can't, like, get back here. I only have 2 hands and you're a little bit too far away.
But you know what? But you're in a bougie place, so, you know.
There still was no lifeguard.
That's all right, but I'm sure that someone else would be like, excuse me, you're a child.
Yeah, the other woman who was with me, it took 3 of us, 3 moms, to handle the 6 kids that were there. And we were still like there really is no, this wasn't a day for me. It's not like a relaxing day on the beach when you're with 6 kids, because we each had 2 kids. It's not relaxing at all. It's just a whole lot of like, oh, don't go too far. Stop eating sand. Stop throwing sand. Get out of the sand. Like, stop pushing her in the sand. Like, it's just a whole.
Why? Just let them be kids.
Yeah, and then they
die. You want to come home with a pound of sand down your throat? Go right ahead.
I know.
Knock your socks off.
Yeah, and then they want to get in the car, and I forgot to bring the powder. Did you know that if you put powder on your body, the sand comes off really easily? I should have saved that for mom tip of the thing. Sorry, I just had a moment. Yeah, the sand, I guess it like smooths your skin, takes the sweat away, because we're all sweating, and then the sand just like basically brushes off really easy. So in the summertime, keep about a thing of talcum powder, like baby powder, and use it on your feet and whatever, it helps.
Honey, I scrub myself dearly with a towel.
Right, so
and then I shake it all off.
If you do the powder on your body, you won't have to scrub so hard. It'll just
then you're walking around looking like Casper.
Well, there's that.
It's like, no. And then you sit in your car and you've got all these white spots all over your seat, especially if you're dark.
Hey, I said, please use a little powder.
I can't use a little. I would use the whole. I'd be like, okay, I'm getting all the sand off.
Always extra, Tom.
Yeah.
So extra.
Be putting in between my ass crack.
All right, enough. No, it's too much. It's too much. Never mind. I take it back.
Swamp ass.
I take it back.
So.
But yes, so they were just having like a black boy joy free life today, which I was really happy with. And we bring color wherever we go. Although Carolyn is Jamaican,
honey, you have no choice.
So Carolyn is bringing the color.
You have no choice in the matter, unfortunately.
I know. It's just all these faces are so uber white, but it works for us because we always know where our kids are.
Well, true. You can spot them a mile away.
And I start looking for them, and everybody's like, "Oh, I think he's right here. Is this one yours? Yeah, that one's mine. Don't ask. You know." But thanks for your help. Thanks. Oh. So yeah, it was a good day. And then James is doing good. He's been smelling good lately. We have the Scentbird. I'm not sponsored by Scentbird, but we've been using Scentbird, so a new scent comes every month. And so it's been kind of like, ooh, you smell good. It's nice. I don't know what he's using. I don't know what's happening, but
I didn't smell him
just
today.
Well, he
sits like 9 cubicles behind me.
So
somewhere.
thank God you didn't smell him. Like, James, you're doing too much.
I'll be like, who's that?
Who's that?
Did we hire somebody new?
No, but he's good. He's good. He smells good. He looks good. And we have family coming. You know, when you're sort of like, hey, you should come, mom, you should come. And then you're like, oh, sister, you should come. And then all of a sudden it's like 30 family members are going to be over. We're
Lord,
having family. Oh, we were talking about this family fun day. Remember my sister was here last week.
I wasn't here.
Oh, Trish was here. Sorry.
Trish produced your show.
You see,
I was in
I guess. Thank you, Trish, that you did such a good job. My memory is that Tom was here. So shout out to Trish.
Shout
out to Trish. Thank you. So anyway.
I'm hurt.
No, you shouldn't be hurt. You've taught Tom. You've done a good job teaching Trish, and so everything runs so smoothly.
Well,
He's
typically
great.
when I'm away, or at least before when I was away, operation was shut down because Trish was very nervous about doing the whole, the board and
But
recording and
he's
server.
great.
No, but he did good.
He's got it.
I put him under the microscope 1 week for our show, and then after that, he was like, "I think I got this.
I got it. No, he's great. So he is welcome on Breezy Moms anytime. I like him. So anyway, my boys are good. Let's go because I don't know what number we're at now, but we're pretty deep into the show, and I want to get to talk to Tina tonight.
We need to. Okay,
so you
I'm going to shh.
Okay. So, joining us tonight is my friend and neighbor, Tina, who, actually lives right across the street from me and was one of the first people that we met when we moved in and has just been a really awesome friend and neighbor. Because totally neighborly stuff where you forget this or you can't get in. I've been at her house when our house was being painted and we couldn't, be inside because we'll die. She has just
she
been
even
awesome.
took care of your kids when you went to the dentist.
She took care of my kids this morning. So she is amazing, and outside of being amazing to me, she's amazing to her family, and she does really great in the community. And so I was really excited to have her come on the show tonight. So Tina, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Tina.
So much for having me.
It's our pleasure. Welcome to the studio.
And Candace, right back at you too. I love having you as a neighbor. I'm so grateful.
It's great. It's like a big love fest on our street. We actually, and this is not what the show is about, but there is a town sidebar. 69th sidebar of the show. But sidebar, there's a town for sale in Connecticut. It's $2 million for a whole town. And so for a while we were like, maybe we should just get in on this. We all buy this town. And you just start pulling together people you like. Yeah, and you're just okay, so you start off with the people that you like. And then you start looking for certain people. Well, we need a teacher. Well, we need a physician.
I think that's called a commune, Candace.
You're going to create your own little community.
Whatever. But it would be so awesome. And I mean, it would be it's amazing because our street is so super diverse and in race and culture and I guess culture and ethnic group and all of the things and how many kids. Some of us have 5 kids, some only have 1. It's a really cool.
It's a great street.
Group on our street. Yeah. And so I'm just really happy to be there. We've been there 5 years, and I think we've known Tina and her husband for 4.98 years. So
that's awesome.
It's been really great. It's been really great. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I'm, like you said, mostly good.
Mostly good.
I'm an educator, so I've had most of the summer off and have flex time. So I've been enjoying that. But I think I told you when I was on our way over here that I got involved in an accident on
I'm
Saturday.
So glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm physically fine. I'm a little bit shaken up, but
a car accident.
I was 50 miles away from New Haven, so in Waterford, and I was just coming back from a concert. I'm a violinist, so I was coming back and just on this road, and someone pulled out of the exit of a mall super fast, coming out from the right side of me. I was just adhering to the speed limit, and she just darted out trying to make a left turn.
Mm-hmm. Is this late at night?
No, it was 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so broad daylight, and so she came out. I slammed on my brakes, but I didn't slam them hard enough, or it wasn't in time. So I ended up hitting her in the rear of her car, on her side, the driver's seat side, and my car got totaled. Hers was dented in, and I had to actually get out of the car by pushing the car door with my feet. That was a new one. I felt a little bit like I was in the movies.
Yeah, Jaws of Life kind of thing.
Totally. And so I got out and I went over to her car and just asked her, if she's okay. And she was just bawling. She was very young.
Yeah,
she's a young driver. And I saw in the police report later on that she was only 20 years old.
Wow.
So she was, completely panic stricken. We called the police. Police came out. Fire department came out. It turned into a huge scene. Yeah, even though I think we were both physically fine. And it's just been
Isn't that crazy when somebody does something to you, but they're so
Yes.
like torn up about it? You have to like console them.
Totally.
It's like, lady, you hit me. Like you did this.
You came out of this exit super fast. I was like just minding with the speed limit, just going like trying to get home after this concert. I'm like 50 miles away from home too.
That's terrible.
And so please come out. They check out, the scene, and I call my insurance company to try to like ask them like, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm 50 miles away from home. I'm trying to figure out how to get home, how to get the car back to. I mean, at that point, I didn't know whether it was a total loss. It turns out it is now that it's been 4 days since the accident. But I was trying to figure out how to get home, and the police officer was like, "Well, I can just like take you to the mall." I'm like, "I'm at the mall. This is the mall.
How's that going to help me take me across the street?"
Exactly.
Oh God!
I
thought he was going to say, "I'll take you home."
Right? Exactly. That's what I was hoping, but no. He was like, "I can take you to the mall." I was like, "Aren't we at the mall? This is the exit of the mall." So he literally drives me just down the little driveway to the through the parking lot, and I'm like, "Well, I can just walk."
Right? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for being courteous. I mean, he was really nice, but so I had to call my husband to come pick me up, and the tow truck came and towed the car to the local garage or repair shop, and I went home and had to call the insurance company to just figure out what to do next. And over the last few days, like I've been talking to my insurance adjuster, not the other driver's insurance adjuster, but my insurance adjuster, and I knew at the moment right after the accident that it was completely the other driver's fault.
Right.
But the questions that he was asking me really made me start doubting whether it was actually her fault.
Yeah, this is so interesting because it's like, one, when you get into an accident like that, you don't know what to do.
Right.
And especially if you think that you know what happened. Yeah. But this is the whole thing with that, like, lawyers, and not that he's a lawyer, but that sort of examination and asking all these super questions. So you were telling me about how, you weren't sure the other insurance adjuster was going to call you and if you should talk to them.
Right.
And
so this is the thing. Like I spoke to my insurance company first, and I told them what happened. And then soon thereafter, I guess that my insurance adjuster must have called the other company, the other driver's company. So Geico sends me a message, and I get a voicemail from the other insurance company, which is Geico, and they leave me a voicemail message asking me to call them back to give a recorded statement. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that sounds really official. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm really worried. I'm like, well, okay, this is. I had a hard time even answering the questions my insurance adjuster asked me. So I'm not so sure about giving a recorded statement because it's going to
official,
be used against me, like when and is it also because the other driver is also filing a claim as well, and so I Googled it. I was like, should I be giving a recorded statement? Right. And basically every post said no. Do not do that. So I called my insurance adjuster as well, and I was like, what all this advice says, do not talk to them. And he also confirms this. He's like, do not do this. I will be the one to communicate with this, because if they ask you some questions and you have any inkling of doubt in your answer, then they will try. Because they're a business.
They don't want to pay.
They don't want to pay, right? They're trying to get away with the least amount of liability. Right.
Oh my God. Well, that's such like important news and information that I wouldn't have known. I've been in accidents. I don't. They've been a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly how it went, but I wouldn't have known not to talk to the other people. Right. I would have I would have talked to whoever was asking me questions.
Exactly.
And then you're all flustered and you're like, well, I think, but it wasn't my fault. And they just have a way of turning your own words against you.
Right. Yeah. I think I was telling you the question that my insurance adjuster asked me at the end of our conversation was, when do you think, or at the very end, who do you think had the last opportunity to prevent the accident? And that just kind of stumped me for a while. And I answered him and I said, I assume her, the other driver. But I mean, I definitely had some doubt in my mind.
Right.
Like, how do you answer that? I mean, I guess.
It's like, I don't want to, I always feel that way when I see people. You always see people who want to cut out in front of you, whether make a left turn around you or like shoot out in front. And I always have a moment where I'm like, but I don't want to stop because I'm right? It's my turn. But then at the end of the day, if they come out and you hit them, then you still get into an accident.
Exactly. You don't
but I still don't want to stop. And so you just have this moment where you're like, hey, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's weird. Yeah. I mean, it's not weird. It sucks and it's terrible. So I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that the fault's on the other person. And so
yes, they did find that. Yeah. So I did get a call last night saying that the other insurance company claims 100% liability. So I'm very lucky for that.
And so on the plus side, like you get to look for another car now.
I do. I do. Except that I had a 2004 Toyota Prius, and that's not worth a whole lot.
Now. But still, you got to look at the upside, right? Like now. Find something else.
Possibilities, right?
I know, it's terrible. It really is terrible when your car is mostly working but is not worth anything.
Exactly.
And so when the payout is not enough to get you a new car, and the other one was mostly fine, so you were trying to I bet you were trying to run it to the end. You're like, we're just gonna make it as far as it'll go.
For every one of my cars.
Oh my God, I love it.
But it does highlight, maybe segueing into the topic of tonight. Is
that maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe I should. And also that it does highlight the importance of having some kind of emergency fund.
Yeah. Well, okay, so maybe you should run the show. So let's segue into what we're going to talk about. So I just wanted to get that out there because I thought that piece of information about making sure that you're talking to the right people when an accident comes, so that you don't mess up your your own liability there. You know? So just make sure you're always talking to your own company and not to the other one. I think that's key advice that I'd never knew before. Yeah. But related to what we're going to talk about is we were talking, I don't know when, we always talk about money. And budgeting is always a thing. Everybody I know is in a constant state of trying to figure out money, right? Yeah. You go to work and you make money, but what else? How do you make sure that you're always I don't even know. People say this comment. They're like, oh, so much of the population is living check to check. And I was like, I thought we were all living check to check. I don't even understand. But I thought that's how you lived.
Right. No, I did read something really, really scary. I think it was, I read recently that 75% of the American population, it just seemed astronomically high. A lot. Of the American population would not be able to cover over a $400 emergency. Yep.
And most emergencies are $2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I take my car to the dealer, it's $2,000 every single time. I went in for an oil change, it's $2,000. I went in, it's literally everything because there's always some filter or some other thing or something other thing. But so there's some high percentage of our population can't handle a $1,000 emergency, and most emergencies are $2,000. Yeah. It's just insane. And, that, we're not going to get into that, but that extends to the whole bail system. So many people are in jail because they can't make bail. Yeah. And bail, I just learned making bail is only 10% of whatever the bail is set. So that could be $2,500, right? God. It could be $250. But so many people can't come up with that amount of money in a shitty circumstance like jail, or in a circumstance like a car totaling. Right. Your car gets totaled. You don't have a way to get to work. You don't have the money to pay for the car to get fixed. You don't have the money to pay for transportation to go to work.
And then you
miss
your
work.
Job,
right?
It's crazy. And the whole system seemed rigged.
The whole system
rigged
is
against poor
people. Crazy. And so this whole, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but this whole lie that people are selling about pull yourself up by your bootstraps and all of that stuff is just not real. And it's not fair. And beyond fair, it's not, I feel like it's not moral. And I feel like sometimes that makes me feel socialist-y, because I'm not trying to say that everybody should have the same, but I think that everybody should not be in the shitter, right? Like
No,
at least
right.
at least everybody should have some kind of, I guess that's what
cushion.
socialism is, right? Some kind of level of, at least we're all starting from here, right? Where we're all eating.
Right.
At least we're all eating, right? Like, what is the baseline? What is the acceptable baseline that we're willing to accept as a culture, like American? But that's a whole, it's all related, but it's a whole thing that just like makes my brain crazy.
Yeah.
Bringing it back a little bit to be like more focused for tonight is when you have all of that in mind, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I are close in age.
Yeah.
And when you have all of that in mind and you think about how you've grown up and your relationship to money, and now you have your own kids and you're trying to like figure out how to keep them from making the same mistakes that you probably made. Like that's what we want to talk about tonight.
Sure, yeah.
So why don't we start by talking a little bit about you and your family? Tell us about Netta and the girls, like your family unit.
Sure. So yes, I have a fantastic husband and 2 girls. They're very precocious, both of them.
I love
one
them.
is thank you, and it's all mutual because I love Lincoln and Memory, and I love it when they get together too.
And Emery loves Emma, and Lincoln loves Tolly. Like they both, I said, we're going to Miss Tina's house, and Lincoln said, we're going to Tolly's house. And I said, we're going to Miss Tina's house, and Lincoln and Emery goes, Emma. But I said Tina. Is anybody listening to me?
Nobody cares about me. I'm just their mom. If that. I'm like some kind of fixture in the house.
Oh my gosh, you just opened the door. It's crazy.
That's hilarious. Yeah, some door lady. Yeah, and so I have...
And Emma's 4?
Emma's approaching 4. Okay. She will be 4 in September.
Oh,
and then Tally is 8, going on 30.
Right?
Yep.
I love her.
And the reason I think I maybe have suggested this topic because actually originally I think you approached me about talking about religion, and I was like, oh no, I can't do that. Cannot talk about religion because I'm so confused and agnostic, and I have so many questions, and I don't think I can really say anything really cogent about religion. But I had a situation with the older, my older one, we call her Prima. she's prima donna. Tali, recently, where she's just really cultivated an interest in money, and so we've had a lot of discussions about money, and then that's forced me to really think about reconcile, how I grew up and like my lack of knowledge of money growing up. And
what is it that she asked you?
She just expressed an interest in getting an allowance because she knew that other kids her age were getting an allowance. And also she noticed that other kids in her grade had just money in their wallets, I know.
They even had a wallet.
Yeah, they had wallets. And
she's in the 3rd grade?
She's not even in 3rd grade. She's going into 3rd grade in September.
My God.
And they have this thing at her school called Rise and Shine on Fridays where it's like basically an assembly, but they also sell like breakfast goods. And I think every so often she'll ask us for $1 just to, and we should
participate.
Yeah. But I think she's noticed that other kids have more than $1 in their wallets. And so I think she's gotten curious.
Did she ask for a wallet?
She has a wallet. I think just a hand-me-down from somebody who gave her one. But we haven't really given her a lot of cash, in the past. So she's gotten
she's 7.
Right, exactly. She's gotten, birthday money from her grandparents. We don't give her birthday cash. We're just like, but she's gotten more interested. Yeah. And so we've had a lot of talks about money, and so it's really given me an opportunity to also just think about how I want to teach her about money and as a tool. And also just read up on what other moms are doing. So I've gone online and just done some research, and it's super interesting. It's also a really charged topic, I think, for most families. So for me, I grew up. I came from Korea when I was 5. I think my parents were pretty comfortably middle class in Korea, but when we came to America, we ended up starting all over again. My dad lost his job in Korea, and that's what prompted us to immigrate here.
Okay.
My mom was a chemistry professor in Korea. My dad was an engineer. And then when we came here, like none of that transferred over. So basically they ended up starting from scratch and opening up a grocery store, and they owned all these like very small businesses. And, we followed that whole mantra of like, what is it called? Like use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, that whole saying, like you just make do, or you just do without.
Right.
Like we scrimped and saved and like we just, when we first came here, we lived in like a 1-bedroom apartment, all 4 of us. I have an older sister. And money was not really a thing that you asked for. Like we never received an allowance, but they never also taught us about money either. I was recently at the Mitchell Library, our neighborhood library, and I was at it's not the checkout counter, but like where you check out your books, and there were these 2 ladies having a conversation about how they were basically indignant that like they felt like a lot of teenagers didn't know things like what sales tax was and what taxes were used for, like what sales tax was, and I was thinking to myself like, oh, I don't think I knew that as a teenager.
Yeah.
Right? But I think
the thing says $19.99, so I pull out a $20 bill. Right? When they tell me it's $21.24, I'm just like, what?
Why is that? Right?
Yeah. Like, I brought $20 because you said $19.99.
Right.
No, they're full of it. Nobody knows about that stuff. Nobody knows about it until they ask for more. So you're like, next time I got to bring at least 5. It's like $1 for every 10 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I was just thinking, like,
people forget
nothing about money. I mean, basically, things were paid for if they were necessary by my parents. They never.
So you got goods, like they gave you clothes or they gave you the thing that you needed. They didn't give you cash.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Things that and it was mostly, basic necessities. Like I remember. The Cabbage Patch dolls were a thing, when I was growing up, and I just begged and begged and begged for like 5 years and never ever got a Cabbage Patch doll. And I just remember playing with every one of my friends' Cabbage Patch dolls. But my mom was just basically like, "This is not a thing that you need," And I just remember. It was always the response. This is not a thing that you need.
Right. I always got the off-brand thing. So whatever the thing was, like I think it was Bear was the brand of like bubble jackets. It was a Bear, and I always got like the Mountain. Or like you want Jordans, but you get Fila.
Yeah.
It's like they're sneakers.
Yeah.
Your feet cold.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But then when I went to college, I realized that like there was all this knowledge that like a lot of my friends and fellow like just students like on campus knew that I just didn't. I remember graduating and people were looking for jobs, or they were going to career fairs, and they were talking about benefits. And I was like,
what is this?
Benefits? What's that?
Oh my God.
And people were like, health insurance and paid vacation. And I was like, oh, that's a thing? Because my parents also paid out of pocket for medical
because they
expenses.
own their own
They
business.
own all their own small businesses. And so we didn't have health insurance. We paid for everything out of pocket.
Wow.
And like paid time off, that's not a thing.
You don't work, you don't get money.
Right,
what?
Exactly. And so I remember learning about that. And then later on also like realizing that what taxes actually were. Right. Taxes actually are this like, we pay them in order for government to work.
Right. So did you, when you were growing up, did you have because I learned about taxes when I had my first job. I did admin work for my aunt and uncle. They had a construction company.
Yeah.
And I remember they told me how much money they were going to give me. And then I saw the the check and it was less. And I was like, what the hell
What the hell is this?
And then the added layer was that I didn't have a bank account. So I was going to the check cashing place, which is a whole nother like scam on poor people.
Oh, yeah.
And so beyond taxes coming out, then the check cashing place
God,
took a bunch out of
Yeah.
You're just like, where is my money?
Yes. Yes. Why did I do all this work?
So I'm having this image of you working at the grocery store but not making any money.
Oh my
like
God,
them not paying you.
Okay, so I mean, like my parents were so like not observant of child labor laws. Like I ended up working in all of their businesses. They're like from like 8,
that's
9.
For other children, not my children.
Exactly.
I didn't hire any other children.
But the year between senior year and college, they finally let me like off their leash, and I was allowed to go find another job, not at their business.
Oh, interesting.
And so I got a paper route and also a waitressing job at Fuddruckers.
Fuddruckers! Oh my God, those burgers are the best. I didn't know about Fuddruckers until I moved to Massachusetts, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die."
The crazy thing was that at that point I was a vegetarian, so I couldn't eat their burgers.
No!
It's
probably better. It's probably better. It's like all your money goes back to the place that you work. No, that's good. It's good. So you grew up, but your parents had their own business. Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing this now for the first time, and then you're entrepreneurial. So how did you, when you were growing up and seeing them own their business? Yeah. How did you see them? Like, how did you see that? Like,
as exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
Basically was the message. I mean, that's the thing was like, I remember my dad, so yeah, when I was in high school, you know, that time, that painful period between junior and senior year, and like when you're applying for colleges and your parents are trying to steer you. Mm-hmm. In my case, it was like not a gentle swaying. It was like, you should go to these colleges and you should do pre-med and you should be a lawyer because you want a comfortable life. Right. And that like totally didn't speak to me because I was like, we've never had a comfortable life. So like, why are you telling me now that I need a comfortable life? Because I don't need one. That's not what I want to do with my life. So, and you know, I wanted to be a violinist, and they were like, that's not a thing. That's not a career path.
That's not on the list of immigrant like wish list. It's like doctor, lawyer, engineer. Exactly. They're like any kind of engineer, but engineer.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They're like, I don't see violinists on this short list.
Nope, definitely not on the short list. So yeah, in fact, they said, you know, if you don't do a double degree and have like a normal degree and major, we will not support your college education. So, but also at that point, yeah, like they kept on emphasizing like comfort and like being able to, you know, pay for like a middle class, like comfortable, like what I equated as like wealthy, and I was always thinking like I don't need that.
Right. But did they position it as opposite to what they were doing it? Were they like, we're working so hard, you don't want to work this hard, so you want to get a better job that pays more money?
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, you know, they had, I think, come from that kind of lifestyle in Korea, and then realized that they had sacrificed all of this, you know, all of that, and worked so hard so that we could access that kind of life. But, and that's like, it's so interesting because I find that now, and I think this is a common struggle for most immigrants, is that like immigrants come, they struggle so hard, like life is so tough, and then just so that they can provide more for their children, and then they realize that their children are kind of weak and lazy.
And don't want what they want.
Yeah. And then it's this constant like, oh man,
their kids are American.
Yes. and then so then they're like, oh man, what the hell did we do wrong? Right. And then like I think I'm maybe a product of that. And now I'm looking at my kids and I'm like so fearful of that being even like 2.0, right? You know, and so so yeah, just that paranoia of like my kids growing up weak and lazy is a thing for me. It's like, God, constantly badgering them about
Me too. I'm like, you have to be self-sufficient now.
Yes,
4.
right.
I don't care. Now.
Exactly.
Like, do you know how to use the bus? What's a token? Oh, we don't use tokens anymore. Like, I have to remind myself that my kids are only 4 and I wasn't on the bus by myself at 4. At 8, yes, but not at 4. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to because I've heard when people talk about how generations and wealth and all of those things kind of run. It is not a straight line, and it's not a straight line up. Sometimes, you know, the family members, like the parents who grew up poor and made a whole lot of money, you know, they had the work ethic and they like did a bunch of stuff, kind of the bootstrap things, but mostly like the working really hard thing.
Yeah.
And now they have money. So now you've got like people of color, right?
Yep.
You, me, not my mom, but people of color in these comfortable positions because they work so hard.
Yeah.
But now they have these kids that are like millennial kids, or I don't even know what you call younger kids.
God,
I don't know.
I don't even know.
But they have grown up always having all these things.
Right.
And so they don't have the same kind of work ethic of having to work for it, and so then they become like lazy assholes.
Exactly.
And then sometimes they fall. Like I just read a thing about the mobility of people of color, that wealth. So I don't know how to say it properly, but white kids who grow up wealthy tend to stay wealthy. You're in a wealthy family, all the access and stuff, you tend to stay wealthy. But black kids and kids of color who grow up wealthy very easily slip into like the poverty level.
Totally.
And the thing that I was reading wasn't necessarily about them being weak and lazy, but about like the thing I was reading was about how they're trying to fix college admission to take away legacy. So to take away legacy is kind of like the to fix the what is it called? I just had a blank. Affirmative action. Okay, so they're trying to like adjust for affirmative action because now white people are afraid they're being like whatever, if that's a thing. Yeah. And so part of that is to get rid of legacy. And it's like, okay, so you get rid of legacy for white kids who have for generations and generations benefited from being able to get into schools. Right. But now, I mean, fancy schools have only just in the last generation started letting people of color in. So now is when legacy for them starts to kick in, and now is when you want to stop legacy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Like it's...
Well, yeah. And also, you know, going back to what you were saying about the
downward mobility.
Yeah, downward mobility. I mean, I think about like just... particularly immigrants and also people of color, like it's the network that like people have, right? And it's because wealthy white people tend to have like this huge network of people who will help you out when you screw up, or you know when you're down and out. And
Tommy needs a job,
right? Exactly. Right? Yeah.
I need a
not
job.
This Tommy. That was my like regular white boy name.
Harold
Tommy
needs a job.
Tommy.
Johnny. You know what it is? It's not Tommy. It's Johnny. It's
I was
Johnny.
so quiet there for a moment.
You were. I'm proud of you.
I was just letting Candace do her thing.
But yeah, so the network thing is huge, and sort of ties into the thing about kids, because this assumption about sort of financing and learning how to manage money and how to work with money is not a part of our school curriculum.
No,
and it should be, right?
Totally
it should be the same way that they did home ec, 30 years ago or whenever they were doing that. I've never done home ec, but when they were doing it, they realized that they thought, especially for girls, that was an important thing for them to teach them. Like, but nobody thinks that it's important.
Financial literacy should be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the assumption is that we don't need to do it at school because people are learning it at home.
But they're so
and it's such a lie.
They're
not, and their parents have gone through most of them have gone through so many situations of up and down and whatever, that they are trying to figure it out, let alone like teach, you know? And I think about some of the things that I remember hearing for a very long time, was that there's good debt and bad debt.
Right.
Especially when I was graduating from college and sort of when I was graduating from college and starting to do the adult thing, get a car, that school debt, if you take out loans for school, that's good debt. And my mom used to say, that is good debt because they have to, it's a law. They have to let you take as long as you need to pay those bills. And a few years later, I was like, but they want you to take a long time because they just charge you for every year.
So that, I think that advice is also, it's like that's too blanketed of a generalization.
Exactly.
Right? Because, I mean, case in point, actually, I just had a conversation with my older sister, who still has a ton of education debt, and she's older than I am. And I still do too, but mine is about half the size of her education debt. And I think it's because she never consolidated her loans and she kept it at a very high interest rate. And then there was a period where she was very sick with cancer and she didn't pay pay her.
And they never go away.
Yeah, they don't go away. And I think the interest just builds up.
It just builds up. Right. And again, like my mom said, they will let you take as long as you need because it benefits them for you to take a long time. But just this idea that education debt is good debt, quote unquote. And so you can have it. You can take as much as you need to advance yourself on the education front and then take as long as you need to pay it back. Like that's just a constant thing that I used to hear over and over again.
Yeah.
And that you needed that debt in order to, that debt. And then you would want to go and get a car because a car note is also good debt because it shows that you pay your bills on time and as long as you pay on time, but that it's also good debt because it gives you credit. And so there's a whole lot of these these things that I remember learning that's like these kinds of debts are good. And then obviously going out and buying shoes and whatever. I got my first credit card at 18, like right when I graduated school. And I'm pretty sure I bought sneakers and backpacks and school supplies.
Yeah.
And the $500, I remember it was a Verizon Visa card and it was $500 and it was gone in like a weekend. Like it wasn't Fuddruckers, but it was probably like Cheesecake Factory.
Yep.
It was gone. I bought my sister some stuff. I bought me some stuff.
Yep.
And then, and then I went to college and I didn't update my address. So I was in college and the bills were going to my house and I was just like, but I'm not at home. Right. Because I was just like, I'm not here. I'll deal with it when I get to it.
That was just free money.
It was just free money. And so that $500 turned into $997.
God. Yeah.
And
yep.
And it just like,
it's a common,
like just
story.
What? And that's how you start out the gate, 18 and a half in debt.
With debt.
$1,000 in debt.
Yeah.
You've never had any money before.
Right.
So thank God now we're at a point where we have those like fresh memories. That's pretty recent for me. And so you're thinking about how to scaffold.
Yes, all that learning for
like all of that
kids.
Learning for your kids. And what I'm struggling with is I'm thinking about me when I was 18 and I made that bad decision. I'm trying to like, what is it, backward plan or like think about it backwards. My kid is 4. Right? Like how do you, I can't tell him about the credit card now because he's only 4.
Like,
what is it that we can do
totally,
leading up to?
Yep. And I also, I think about 10 years ago, again, after college, someone showed me all the, like, he had a whole library of like financial literacy books. And he gave me the 2 like classics that I guess everybody reads, which is like The Wealthy Barber and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think those are the 2 that like everybody is supposed to read. But I know that there are a lot of critics of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think there is a lot of BS in there. But I do think that the general premise of both of those books is really spot on, which is like, you really need to first of all invest basically and in not only yourself and your education, but also in assets. And that like you need to know the difference between an asset and a liability. and that your house is actually not an asset, even though you
God.
think you think that it is.
My
It
house
really
is
not.
definitely a liability at
Oh, yeah.
any given point.
Right.
Like, again, nothing ever goes wrong in my house that's $100.
Oh yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's always $900.
Always. It's a money pit. Right?
Sometimes I think we would be rich
Yeah,
if we were still in
just
our
renting.
apartment that was
Yeah.
$1,100.
Yeah.
Like that would have been awesome if we
I
were still
know.
there.
I know.
I don't know. It's
Such
hard.
a misconception.
So,
but all that learning has to happen just gradually, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you have to scaffold. The
so are
learning.
there any things that you've done with your little kids?
yeah,
Because they're
yeah.
little.
They are little.
As usual, I think about myself, right? It's hard not to think about yourself in these moments, and I think about my own memories.
Yeah.
But how does that translate for you when you're having, like, what was that conversation like when you
With
talked to
Tali.
Tali
Yeah.
about money?
Yeah. So
What did you say?
So I started off with talking about money basically as a tool. Like it's not something that you just keep in your wallet and hoard in your wallet. It allows you to do things with that actually you basically have an opportunity to live your values through your money, right? And so we actually started off with like the thing, talking about what we value as a family, and what she values, and some of that was just like my husband and I talking about like how we spend our money and what we value. So we talked a lot about experiences rather than things. Like that if we choose not to buy the latest gadget, because she also expressed an interest in getting a phone, at age 8. That's a whole nother story. Like I'm choosing to like start a tribe or a movement of moms who are going to wait until 8th grade, because like I really don't feel like kids need phones until at least high school. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But but she had expressed an interest in getting a phone, and we were talking about, if you save your money and don't buy the latest gadget, then like that allows us to save up for maybe a vacation out of the country. So like recently we did have the opportunity to go to Madrid and Barcelona, but we talked about how basically that was us saving, for an entire year, and like not getting the things that we necessarily like we could have splurged on, but we decided not to, so that we could just keep on putting money into the bank for the vacation. And so we talked about like how the research tells us that the experiences and creating memories is something very valuable and gives you much more joy than
the latest Voltron.
Exactly.
I get it.
And so we talked about that, and we talked about just the kinds of things that she would like to spend money on, and then also talked about how what we try to do is we save some, we spend some, and then we give some, because we as a family we want to be as generous as we possibly can to those who aren't as fortunate as we are. So we let her decide what proportions. I think I've read from other families that they do a 30-30, 33-33-33. But we let her decide what proportions she wanted, but that she should have
those 3 buckets.
Yeah, those 3 buckets. And
so
then
those 3 buckets are spend, save, and give.
Spend, save, and give.
Got it.
Yeah. And then we talked about also the concept of an allowance. Now, I think this is a pretty charged topic from what I'm reading online, is that a lot of families do an allowance because they feel like it's an opportunity for kids to practice using money.
Yeah.
And then it should not be. So the prevailing kind of advice is that you should not tie it to chores.
Okay.
Because chores are a thing that you should do as part of being a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and that makes sense to me too. But it also didn't really make sense for me to
Just
give practice money, right? Because that doesn't happen in real life. Like, where in real life do people just give you money to practice or like to spend?
Yep.
So we created a system for her where she's responsible for a number of things every day that they're the traditional chores, like making her bed when she gets up, doing the whole like breakfast routine and getting up and getting her book bag ready and everything when she comes back home, like putting her school lunchbox away, doing her homework, and showering and brushing her teeth at night, folding her laundry on the weekends and putting it away, like that space, and then watering the plants on Saturday as well.
Okay,
those are the things that she's responsible for without money. And then we created chores, like one chore every day that she gets to do for money, for $1.
Okay.
And I thought really, like, it took me a while to come up with this system because I was thinking about sustainability and longevity. Because I was thinking like, okay, this system works now, but when she is 13 or 14, is it still going to work?
Right.
And so I created chores that were basically going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. Because I thought that, okay, if later on what I can do is kind of scale up those chores, and that still equates to like a minimum wage, right? So if we're doing 5-minute chores for $1, right? If you're doing an hour long chore, like that's going to equate to, well, maybe not with the rate of inflation, but
right.
But I just thought, so things like taking out the garbage, like things like taking out the recycling, also putting away Emma's clothes in addition to her clothes, out for laundry day. So the chores every day, sweeping the kitchen floor. We have a tiny kitchen, so it really does take like 5 minutes.
Right.
So things like that, that you can do for $1 a day. Now, this is the thing that I did not anticipate, is that at this point, she's probably had the chance to earn, I'd say, it was like a month and a half in, right? So she's actually had the chance to earn about $45 at this point. And she has earned $3. So then I was like, is this life working? Too comfortable for you? Is that why you
don't need the money?
Yeah. And so then I was thinking, okay, maybe I just shouldn't buy her anything, like so that she feels like
the pain.
Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like parenting is so much about balance, right? It's all about balance. It's like you don't want, because we did go to Target and I hate going to Target with kids, but did go to Target like 3-4 weeks ago, and there was a leotard for gymnastics, because she's been doing some gymnastics, and there's a leotard that she really wanted, and I actually was planning on getting it for her, but then she looked at the price tag and she was like, "Oh, that's too expensive. You shouldn't get it." And at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm really proud of her that she is being kind of thrifty and like, being aware, and, she's not being spoiled about it. And then on the other hand, I was like, okay, she's choosing not to earn money because it's like too much of a hassle. And then she doesn't want to buy the things that are too expensive. So then I'm like, well, maybe, I don't know. I just felt like, I feel like there has to be a happy medium in there somewhere, right? Like she can't just be so bothered by the price of everything that she's just like, okay, I throw up my hands and I'm not going to do any chores, and I'm not going to spend any money either, because that's not real life either.
So I have to wrap up. We have to wrap up. But what I'm hearing you say is, one, talk to them about money and start with values, like what the family values, and live those values. And then two, set up a situation where you've got things that you have to do that you just have to do because you're part of the family, but then a few other things that is your work. right? Is the work that
that's what we've come up with.
You've put in. And then the third thing I'm hearing, although I'm not sure if you're there yet, is you might need to have a list of things that are things you provide as a parent.
Yep.
And then a category that's extras, that's what's your money pays for. So I'm your mom, we're your parents, we take care of you. These are the things we feed you. We give you the stuff you need to do the things you need. But if you want the glitter leotard, like I'm gonna get you a leotard,
right?
So you can go to class.
Basically a leotard. Yeah.
But if you want the leotard with glitter, then you have to pay the upcharge for that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's a category that you need to provide for her so that she understands that this is the category of things that my money pays for.
Yes.
And I think it sounds like you're trying to figure that out.
To navigate that, yes.
Right. But it's a really good point, because I mean, Lincoln is now, he's really into Voltron, which is a thing that you get one toy, but 5 toys make up a giant toy, because it's kind of like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And so he got the one and the other kid has the other one, and he expects me to now 3 days later buy the other ones because him and this kid want to make Voltron. I was like, that's not how any of this works.
It's not.
But I find myself saying, is it your birthday? Is it Christmas? But I haven't set up the expectation that you only get things for certain occasions. Right. He now knows about ordering online. Oh. And so he thinks we went to the store, it wasn't at the store. He's like, okay, so now daddy can just order it online.
Right. And
right?
Next thing you see,
and then it just shows up exactly, right? It just shows up. And so for me, I feel like we need to do these things that you said about values and chores and categories, but also need to set up maybe potentially this like timeline of when you get things. Like we don't just buy random things because you want them randomly. Yeah. Like you sort of think about it and save up for it and that sort of thing. And how do you position that to a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't say we were going to have all the answers tonight. I said we were just going to talk about it and leave you with questions. But those are really good. That's a really good starting point, especially because my kids are younger than yours, so I don't really know. Right. Like I'm not at that point. I don't like. He hasn't really asked me. He's just asking me for the things. He doesn't really know about the money. Although I have said to him on several occasions, "Oh, we can't have ice cream. I didn't bring my wallet." You know, so he has some concept.
Right.
But eventually those like tricks that you play on them, they stop working because they get older and they know.
Get savvy.
Right? So now he says, Mom, did you bring your wallet? We're going outside. So
he's coming prepared.
So anyway, if you're listening and you have some things that are working, some ideas, some tricks, some strategies that you're currently using with your young kids, let us know. Hit us on Facebook at the Breezy Moms Podcast and let us know how you talk to your kids about money and how you present it to them in a way, sort of by age and what's working for you. Because I don't have any answers. Yes. I would love to know.
We would love to know.
Well, Tina, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Such a pleasure, Candace. Thanks so much.
Oh my God. So, Tom, let's wrap up.
We should.
Listen, whatever with this, we should. We're gonna. Okay.
We're gonna. All right. So,
you
have one more thing to cover before we go home.
One more thing to cover, but I really wanted to have that conversation because money is important.
No,
whether you have it or not, even when you don't have money, it's super important.
She's justifying the fact that she went over 15 minutes.
Whatever.
Her time.
Listen, money is like time. Okay, time is money.
Get me the knife. Get me the knife.
It's a real thing.
Slice.
Time is money. Time is money.
No, I appreciate the candid conversations that you have on your show because, first of all, you come at it from a very fresh and very real perspective, but it's also a learning curve for a lot of parents that are out there. So
and
it's
me.
important. But still.
I know. Whatever.
She's still trying to justify herself.
I am. So I'm going to do like 2 minutes. So what are we going to do now? Oh, the mom tip of the week.
Yes. And this one is good. And
this one is good. And it kind of is about money. So it's not really about money, but money in the general sense. So this week I had to make a decision. I had a dentist appointment. It was just a cleaning. It's not like a broken tooth or anything, but I had a cleaning scheduled for my teeth. And I also had, my sons had dentist appointments, but now I'm working, right? And I'm working I'm going to fix that. I have a business and people like parents are using my service, right? But if I'm closed, it means that they can't go to work, right? Or they have to find something else. So one of the things that's tough, I think, for daycare providers is when you close, you feel guilt of putting this on this like need for them to find backup care. Like maybe they can't go to work because they don't have anybody to take care of the kids because you're closed. But this week I decided, one, I was going to ask James to take the boys to their dentist appointment so I didn't have to close to take them because I have James. That's why you have a partner, right? You like share the things.
Well, you have to. Yeah.
Right? You share the
things. You take
a
day off.
You take a day. I take a day. And then this week I also had a dentist appointment and I just had these moments where I was like, maybe I should just skip it. I'm just going to skip it. I'm just going to, like, it's not really a big deal. I'm not going to go. Plus the parents, I just started. It's the summer. They probably don't have whatever. And then I realized, like, I just need to go to the dentist.
You should.
I need to go to the dentist.
That's
I need
important.
to take care of me. Dentist, doctor, like gynecologist, whatever the things are, like, you need to remember to take care of you and not always put yourself, like, bump yourself on the list.
Especially.
And for other people, especially.
That's important for other people, but a lot of people need to realize that, for example, in your line of work, you're doing it from home. You're thinking, gosh, I really don't have that structure in place, right? Oh, I can take a sick day and I have sick time or vacation
But I
days.
have it. And
you have it.
I have it and it's my business. Like this.
That's the thing. It's yours, right? So a lot of people think, oh, I'll do it next time, or maybe I shouldn't because this may impact
other people.
My customers. This is your business. You take personal pride in it. But
it
you
also
still
might impact me.
You have to treat
impact
it.
My teeth.
Of course. Your teeth, your health.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize.
I can't take care of them later if I got an abscess or some like gross thing going on.
A lot of people don't realize how important oral health is for the rest of your overall health.
Yeah.
So
oral health is important, but also health is important. So we've talked about self-care before on the show, but that's like, go get a manicure, like have a day off, like that kind of thing. But also as moms, as parents, we need to remember to take care of our health because we can't take care of anybody if we're all screwed up.
Expected to be Superwoman
or
Wonder Woman. So, you got to make sure you stay on your toes and visit your doctor and do all that good stuff.
All the doctors, even the therapist. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the
gynos, the therapist, the
all
teeth, all of it. Your
all
general practitioner. Yeah. Just make sure that you handle you.
So the tip of the week is to remember to keep yourself on the list and don't bump yourself on the list. As a mom, as a parent, as a caregiver of any kind, remember to take care of yourself because you can't take care of other people if your own kids or other people's kids or whatever. You can't take care of anything if you are not well.
Hashtag truth.
Yeah. So take care of yourself. It falls under self-care, but really take care of yourselves and make time for it. And don't feel guilty about it because you, especially as a business owner, like I made my policies and included time for myself and still feel guilty about using that time. But I need time and my clients need time and if we're all working together, we should all recognize that. And even in my case, I feel like if my clients don't understand that I also need to go to the doctor, just like you need to go to the doctor, just like you bring your kids to me when you have a day off because you have things to do. Like if we aren't in agreement on that, then it probably isn't a good fit. And so in any situation that you find yourself, business or sort of relationship, if the people around you don't appreciate that you also need to take care of you so that you can take care of others, then it's probably not a great relationship.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So anyway, on that note, thank you so much everyone for being here and for listening. Come back next week where we will be talking about whatever. I don't even know. I'm sure it's going to be fun.
She'll get it eventually.
I'll figure it out eventually. So a huge shout out to Tina. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I will talk to you next time. Let's go. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.